Welcome to the Cavalier Corner, a show in which we'll be discussing all kinds of fun topics related to student life. My name is Juliana, and today we're joined by Camry, Johan, and our very social guest, Rumia. Today we'll be talking about a few tips and tricks of online classes, how to help you guys manage that better. So yeah, Johan, do you have any that you'd like to share?
Well, for me, once we got out of classes for spring break and COVID started to increase a little bit more, I knew that we weren't going to come back. And honestly, for me, it was a struggle because online classes can definitely be hard, and it takes a lot of discipline in order to be successful. And I think a way that I was able to get my on classes done was definitely create a schedule, even if you don't meet with your professor through Zoom and it's just do your own work. I created a schedule and I had to do certain work on certain days, and that way I wouldn't stress out and I wouldn't procrastinate, because you cannot procrastinate when you have an online class. That will literally just destroy you in the end. And always, so I think definitely creating a schedule, organizing things over the weekend to start your week, and that will definitely make you successful.
I agree with that. I think like a schedule is so important to keep, either if it's like on your phone or it's actually like one printed out. Like you just need to know when assignments are due and lectures, and like if you have a Zoom meeting time, just also don't skip the Zoom meeting times if you have even if they're optional. Like you will get information out of them that you will want and need when you're doing like hard papers and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Really don't skip those. But yeah, Camry.
Yeah, so similar to Johan, like I've done a large amount of online classes even before coming to college, and then usually each semester I had at least one online class. Except for the spring semester, it's my last semester at JCCC, so I wanted all of them to be in person. So I purposely picked kind of harder classes that you can only do in person. I quickly regretted that because they were not online classes, they were not online professors. So it was kind of a challenge to move online. And the one thing that I found really helpful, also very similar to what Johan said, was the schedule. So every Monday morning, the first thing I would do was make a schedule, and I would write like the dates for the week, like Monday through Friday, and then I'd break it down by each day. Like Monday, I need to do this. This is due on Monday. And always, when you're doing something like that, I always wrote in pencil because it's going to change very quickly, as we all discovered. And then once I would accomplish that task, whatever it was, if it was just even a Zoom meeting or a paper or a test, I would cross it out in like a Sharpie, because then it's done, it's over with. And it became very satisfying, like to just cross things out, and like at Friday just see like all that stuff crossed out. It really, because sometimes like in the moment, especially with online classes, you just feel like you're spinning your wheels and not getting anywhere. But being able to look back and be like, whoa, I actually did get all this stuff done, was huge for me. And then also about halfway through the whole online situation, I started seeing a lot of patterns in my schedule, and that really helped me like keep going forward. So definitely create a schedule, and always check your email, your campus email and your stu mail, because sometimes they don't always go both places. So I'll always be checking both of them. And if you're not, reach out to your professor, because I may or may not have missed a Zoom or two because I could not find the Zoom schedule. So always be checking your email, making schedules.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Pick classes, especially going into this now that we know majority is going to be online. Pick the classes you know you can do online right now. Like if don't be like, I think I'm gonna take like Calculus 3 online. If you could take your history credit, go ahead and get those easier classes, maybe that are just gen eds, not major specific things. Go ahead and do them now. You know you're gonna be online, so pick online classes.
Oh yeah.
For sure. And Rumia?
I would say definitely scheduling have helped me a lot too. And I think like I do scheduling like on Google, like Google Calendar, and I also keep like a little board where I just like write the same thing Monday through Friday and what I have to do. And then every time kind of looking at it, it pushes you to like, you cannot procrastinate because you know that this is coming up, that is coming up. And it also gives you an overview of your week. Like if you have some plans or something, you can kind of like combine them to that. And also one thing that I have found very helpful with online classes especially is kind of linking my Canvas email to my personal email that like I keep on my phone. So like every morning if there's an email, it comes to my phone so I look at it. And I would also like make a note if the email is like very important deadline, if the email is like about the assignment, like change to the assignment or an explanation to it. So I just like make an really like quick note that like this is what the professor said, the deadline has been changed, or like this is what you need to do and all of that. And also like kind of going back to like the Zoom sessions, I'm guilty of like not attending all of them. Be just like I will watch it on my own time, and honestly that never happens because like you just okay, and especially if you take like a longer lectures, like it's 2 hours or something, and when you're in that Zoom session, it's kind of like, and especially if you have like, I do recommend having your camera on if your professor allows doing that, because it kind of holds you accountable to like be present in the class, because you cannot just like zoom out or like go on your phone and stuff like that. And because like when you leave it for like later, most probably you're not going to go and watch them. And it's also helpful to kind of link your Zoom sessions to your Google account, to Google Calendars. So like 15 minutes before that or 30 minutes before that, you'll receive that notification like, hey, you have a Zoom meeting scheduled this time. And then it will kind of like force you to kind of attend it, and having your camera on, it will force you to actually listen.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like it's super easy if you have the camera off and the microphone off to just go off, be doing something else, and then come back. And I mean, it may seem like fine when you're like doing it, but then oftentimes when you do that, there's actual information that you need for assignments that the professor is sharing that if you decided to take the class, you'd want to hear. So definitely be present. If you're going to be on the Zoom classes, be present. And that's also a thing. If your professor wants to record the Zoom sessions and they record it, then that's, it's totally fine to watch it on your own time. Just make sure to, talk with your professor about it. Like, lest there be like an attendance grade that you then are losing points for if you're not joining Zoom. So that's also like something like most of my professors have been flexible with that. They're like, there is an attendance grade and you may lose like half a point or a point, but if you watch it later, just let me know that you watched it later, and maybe they'll ask you like a few questions to like check if you will like watch the session or something like that. But it works. Like, it can work for sure.
Right. And I think it's all about communication. I think definitely keeping up with your professor, letting him know your situation, everything that's going on. Because I know this has been a very hard time for everybody. So professors will understand an online class, and they'll try to work with you as much as possible.
Yeah, 100% is.
I think that definitely like the communication between the professor and the student was like kind of like it developed more during the online classes. And I think like going back to like that communication, it's a really good idea to start doing your assignments a little bit earlier. Because I have noticed that sometimes when like something is left out to the last day, when it's like due 11:59 today, and then you just like start doing it, there's like a lot of questions that come up, and then you email your professor. The professor might not check the email at that time, or like you receive the answer but you still don't understand something, but like kind of looking at your assignments and like kind of communicating with the professor, like saying that, hey, this is what I don't understand, could you please like explain to me? And maybe like they read an email and you still don't understand it, you can schedule like a Zoom meeting with them, and then it will make it more clear.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Rumia saying start early, because, well, especially what are you going to do now? Like, there's nothing to do. So you have nothing to do. Do your schoolwork. But especially with moving online, there's a lot of new technology that maybe as the traditional like face-to-face classroom by students we weren't used to, like making YouTube videos, having to like scan and upload things. So you never know like what kind of, and of course the whole world is trying to scan and upload a document at the same time that you are. So just always kind of being one step ahead, because something can and will always go wrong. So if you're start ahead of that, you kind of miss that. There were just as many times as I missed that as I didn't this past semester. So definitely that starting and planning ahead is a huge crucial piece of being an online student.
100%. I feel like if anything, just make sure that all your technology works ahead of time. Because you may be like a day before an assignment is due, and then something is not working with the software. Which, if you'd have looked ahead, you could have like dealt with it, and you could have gone to like the technical support center. They could have helped you out in time, so that you don't then have to stress like at the last minute to get that on there. So that for sure helps out a lot with like just coping and making sure that you don't lose points, not necessarily because you didn't do the work, but because it was like a technology issue. So definitely check, at the very least, check that in advance for sure. Like I did that as soon as we switched online. I was like, okay, is my computer working? Is the camera working? Can I email things? Can I scan things? Is the printer working? Does it have ink? All those things, like all those checks. You could do like a checklist and go over them just to make sure that you have them. And if something is amiss and it's not working out and you feel like you can't solve it like by yourself, just definitely reach out to like the technical support center, or anybody in the college is always 100% willing to help you with any of those issues, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and another cool thing that JCCC is doing for current students, if they do need to purchase new technology for all of a sudden having to be an online student, you can fill out a grant form for that. So check that out if you haven't already. That's one thing, like looking back, like in the moment, everything happens so fast. I'm like, I really should have filled that out. So I know people that have, and they've received the grant money for it. So definitely check that out if you're a current student at the college.
Yeah, this is what I did, because I basically I didn't really have a space here to study, so I basically had to build a space for me to study. So this is what I did. I filed for a grant, and then they reimbursed me some of the money that I have spent to start doing my online classes, maybe ink money, or it's even getting simple things like more papers or scanner or whatever it might be. You just file that and put the prices, what you spend, and then most probably they will reimburse you all of it or even partial, which will this time will help you a lot.
100%. Also, another thing is, if you have time focusing and keeping track of everything, build a space. Wherever in your house that you find one, build one, and then you focus that space for your work. Because sometimes I find myself trying to do my papers and write them in my bed or in the couch. It doesn't really work because that's not where you're used to doing your work. So if you have a designated area to do and complete your work, you will find that you will do it so much faster, and it's gonna come easier.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a very cool thing. There's a study about the brain that says that while a certain space for your brain just gives them a hint that, hey, here you studying, or here you relaxing here, every time you sit on your couch, for your brain it's okay, this is my time to watch TV, or this is my time to relax. So it's really hard to focus. But when you have a designated space, and especially if you limit yourself, when I'm on this page, my phone is not coming with me, or when I'm on this page, I Netflix is not playing on the background. So this is kind of, you trick your brain into being much more focused than you would be just sitting on your couch or sitting on your bed, or sitting somewhere else, or even bringing your phone to your table. Just make sure there's no distraction on that table. This is what you have solely for studying.
100%. And if you're halfway through the semester and you start to feel tired and a little bit overwhelmed, it's always okay to take a little break. You just go out on a little walk, or just relax and then come back to it. For me, I've never taken online classes before, so it was a bit hard of a transition at first. But if I was stuck on something, I knew that just by sitting there and looking at the paper and trying to figure it out, it's not going to solve itself. So I would just go do something else, take a 20-minute nap, or do some exercise, something like that, to focus your mind again. And then you come back to it and you'll find that the answer is so much clearer after you've done that and you relax your brain for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Taking breaks, yeah, just makes you like more productive. Like your day is like more productive if you just like take a break, like even like maybe you stretch like for 15 minutes after doing a class, or like you go for a walk or something like that. It definitely helps. I think like I don't usually count that like my body actually gets tired and like, you know, you're sitting all the time. I don't really count on that. So like sometimes just like sit and just like my brain is just turned off, and then the next day you come back to it and you do an assignment and you just like don't remember what you actually read because you're just like so tired that like you're reaching a limit of studying.
Exactly.
Definitely. One more like random hack. I think I actually saw it on like an Instagram or like a Snapchat story, was if you have an iPhone, you can use the Notes app as a PDF scanner. And that saved me a few times this past semester, not only with classes, but like uploading documents for transferring. So if you're like, I don't know like how to scan something into a PDF, like I don't have that technology, I bet you 9 times out of 10 you can do it with your smartphone. So you can learn something from social media. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that saved me too when I started it, and one of my professors wanted specifically like scanned PDFs, and I didn't know how to do that. The iPhone with the Notes app, it really did help with all of that. So then I just go there, and then it'd be, you know, I just airdrop it to my computer and it'd be there, and I just send it, and that's it. And it was quick and painless.
definitely.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'd love to hear your suggestions on what topics you'd like us to talk about next. Check us out on our other social media pages. We are JCCC Student Life on Instagram and Facebook. And if you'd like to find out more information about events that we have going on, check out our Get Involved at JCCC page. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.